It's
All
good
right.
to see you all. Look at all your lovely faces.
All righty, we're going to get started.
Yay.
So welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Tuesday, June 7th. We're glad you're here. We've got some weird calendar stuff happening this month. We're going to do Tuesday, Friday, Friday, Tuesday.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd only have 3 meetings.
Great.
So we don't want to do that, right? Somebody's got to keep Sid company.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be sitting here talking to my computer, which I do
Yeah.
rest of the time, you know.
I mean, that's what you're doing now.
I do it now. I do it all the time. I just sit, but it's a black screen, or I'm just watching, but I'm just chatting, like
No response.
asking
That's
reflection stuff.
Mirror, mirror. No.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Sid.
Thank you very much. Normally, I would have something really sort of dark and unpleasant to say at the beginning of the show. And I don't. It's I think it's Gay Pride Month has just kicked off in the United States anyway, and that tends to put a smile on everybody's face. So I'm gonna tag along with that idea for today. So nothing heavy, and we'll even be able to squeeze hopefully one more person into the show, into having a chat too. I keep calling it a show. It's not really a show, but it's just something to call it. So without further ado, we should actually talk to Chrissy and say, what's up, Chrissy?
Chrissy, it's your birthday.
It is.
It is.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
Happy
birthday.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Straggler. How are you, Christy?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right too, thank you. Had a hectic day. I was like at the doctor's, and I went to an interview, and then I was like dealing with this, that, and the other. But I'm just fine. I'm much happier that the weather's great. Except I don't like ticks. I was just talking with Mel about this. I don't know if you have ticks in your part of the world, but
I've been told yes.
are unpleasant, and
No, they are very much so.
everywhere in New England and west of here. I mean, they're everywhere. So I am just got into a tick neuroses, trying to figure out how to kill ticks. So it's pretty unfortunate. But so what are you up to for your birthday?
I'm probably gonna go to dinner with friends, and then I need to get my brakes done, and I'm doing a lot of adulting things for my birthday. I don't understand what's happened to me. It's all
Well, getting your
cleaning
brakes done.
getting the brakes on my car done and cleaning my room, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
That's a birthday treat if ever there was one.
Welcome to 41 party.
That is so far in my rear view mirror, I can barely see it. I need a telescope. And how are you? You were like, ho hum.
Lulu has a tumor in her neck, and so I'm taking, I get to take my dog to the oncologist next week. So
Oh, well, fingers crossed there.
yeah,
How old is she?
13. She turned 13 last month. So
Okay.
but I just got the surgery done on her leg, so I'm like, I just spent like $2,000 on you, and you're gonna put me through this now.
It's gonna do that. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It is. These unfortunate things are just inevitable at some point or another. And we don't get pet insurance much. Shana and I, we have 2 dogs, so we have basically potential accidents on 4 legs, walking around everywhere, and we just never get the pet insurance because we just think the math is wrong. But it's actually probably smart. I don't know.
It goes back and forth, and it depends on the dog, I think, because they have pet insurance, like they have pre-existing conditions, and some of those conditions are like, oh, you have a golden retriever, well, they have heart problems, so we're not going to cover your heart problems.
Right.
Things like that. So
they're the same old game as they do with humans.
yeah.
So you've been talking to your colleagues about Valde, I'm assuming, and it's obviously depressed everybody. But have you noticed that is there anything that between you professionals, who deal with these tragedies on a regular basis, and obviously talk about them on a regular basis and discuss how you're going to editorialize and what stance you're going to take and all those things. Is there something that you as a group have gone, yeah, I think this is how we should make this evolve, move the conversation forward?
It's tough because there's also, I definitely think there's a little bit of sense of despair because we all know what the climate is in Congress.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we can move it forward. We can try. What it's going to come down to is we need to watch for the people like Matthew McConaughey, the people who do come out and really speak out to this and start looking at the polls and just start really hitting that Americans want this solved.
Yeah.
Because the only way it's going to get solved at this point is proof that if you don't vote for common sense gun laws in Congress, you will be taken out of office.
Yeah.
It needs to become a priority in Americans' minds. When it comes to mental health, I don't believe that mental health is that much of the issue, but I would point out that one of the biggest statistics for gun violence in America is suicide.
Yeah.
So there is some aspect of mental health involved.
Yeah.
But at the same point, every time there's a school shooting or some kind of mass shooting, the Republicans come out and say, we have a mental health problem in this country, and then do nothing about it. I always tell people, it's like one statistic from a police chief that shocked me was 80%, something like 80% of crimes, you're related to the other person. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like it's not going to be some random stranger. I mean, yes, that happens, but it's not going to be a random stranger. It's going to be someone you know.
Yeah.
So maybe we should know people better.
Yeah, maybe we should know people better. Absolutely. And get dogs really worried about home protection. Nothing scares a thief more than a dog. It's just that.
Well, not a beagle. I don't. I speak from experience on this, not a beagle.
Yeah. The dog just sleeps. It's like, you know what? Oh. Our dogs just kick off at the slightest sound. I mean, literally, the wind blows the leaves, and those two dogs are, all hell is breaking loose. So what is there anything else you want to talk about?
I wanted to ask you a few more questions about when you played a violin as a kid, because we kind of we ran through my year the last time we talked very quickly, and I kind of mentioned, oh yeah, I started playing the violin. I wanted to talk about, because you said you played a very squeaky violin.
I played very poorly. I was probably 14, maybe 15. It was the first instrument I picked up because I loved it. And I went to the piano second, but I didn't do very well at that either. Just no staying power. And I learned every good boy deserves apples, and where to put my fingers on those every good boy deserves apples. And I could play well enough to squeak out a tune. I worked very hard on tone so it wasn't so squeaky. And because I was at school, lived there day and night, so everybody, it was easier to practice because the teacher would just come up to you and go, when are you practicing? I was like, now, sir. Off we go then. So there were lots of little practice rooms, and you could walk down, and it sounded like a cat's chorus walking down there, with all the different cellists and violinists and pianists all getting it wrong at 14. And I had a really good friend called Neil Mackenzie, who was amazing. He was like my good friend. And I'd go out to his house, and he'd come to my house when his parents, or they'd take me out to lunch or something. And he was a really good violinist, even at 14. So I would stand next to him and just copy whatever he was doing, and it worked out just fine. Are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it, but I'm having, I don't know, some days I feel like I'm regressing. Like I'm playing and it seems good, and then one day and then the next day I'm like, why can't I hold this straight? Or why does it sound like I'm strangling Lulu at this moment? Like it, and I don't know why that is.
Are you being taught by someone?
I take a lesson a week.
Yeah.
Mostly over Zoom. Occasionally I get to go to her house.
That's very difficult because you want someone to reach in there and move your fingers around. and let you let you know how to get around, just make the right noises and get the right chords out. Sometimes it's counterintuitive where your fingers should be, because you think it should be like, well, the little finger is that should probably be on the last note, but actually sometimes it's not, and it's like, whoa. And then you're crossing fingers and doing all sorts of crazy stuff on there. But I think if you concentrate and practice and practice and practice and practice, because I love listening to the violin, I listen to a lot of violin. It's all about tone, and if you practice anything after your basic arpeggios, it's just work on getting a sound that has almost no break in it. You can almost hear no break by just keeping on going, and that's a really good thing to practice, because that's kind of where you're defaulting to on the violin, isn't it? I mean, especially when you're accompanying. And that's just one of the most beautiful noises. It's like a violin has unlimited breath. It can hold its breath forever. There are bound to be some violinists here, and you should talk to them, because they're probably current violinists, and I played violin badly for 2 years. I just get all my information from listening and a little sprinkling of common sense. But it's such a wonderful instrument. Persevere with it, and just get good at the easy stuff. Get good at the basics.
And it's fun because some of those songs, like I listened to Yitzhak Perlman.
Yeah.
I watched him to see how he's doing some of these songs, and I'm like, he's only playing on 2 strings. How am I supposed to do that?
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah. He plays that. He plays that, what it used to be called gypsy music. Yeah, amazingly, that Hungarian folk stuff.
Oh yeah.
Wow. How does he do that? He's amazing. I gave up the violin because it was too hard. I found it too hard. And my attention span at 14 was, less than that of a tick. And I took up the piano, and the piano is interesting instrument because you can sound good at it without any experience whatsoever if you improvise. So if you're playing music that's been written, it's incredibly hard. But if you just knock out some chords and say, I'm doing some jazz, it can sound good really easily. And it's like, wow, you can do that. And then you hit a bum note, it's like,
it's time to go. But before I go, it was Mel's birthday last week. So we need a shout out for Mel.
Happy birthday, Mel!
That was last week. Happy birthday,
Mel!
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Well, that was Christy's last time chatting with you. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Christy.
Bye.
Thanks, Christy.
Great surprise.
All right, we're going to go talk to Becky.
Becky, where are you?
Right here.
You're there.
Over here.
Hurrah! There you are.
Huzzah.
That's you've got the screen proportion perfect. That's what I have. No, when I first logged on, I was like that, and I was like, you've got to see
Yeah.
it.
Hazards of having a laptop.
So I have to do all kinds of jiggery pokery to get into shape. And looks like you have something fascinating.
Yes,
the
the last time I was on, I showed you guys the individual squares that I was working on for this.
I think I remember.
And I'm gonna have to back up because it's done now.
Oh my goodness, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it needs to come up.
You've got
My Vanna White is holding up. There you go. So it's a big white house in the middle, and then all the different ones all the squares on the edges are different.
It is astonishing. That is fantastic. What a beautiful work of art.
So my mother-in-law actually made the pattern for me, and I did the Tunisian crochet to make it.
Excellent work in the
So it
background.
was kind of a team effort.
Wow. That is just beautiful. That's really amazing. Gorgeous. And the nautical theme is really pleasing.
Yeah.
And it's cat approved. Her cats love to sit on it.
Yes, the cats love to test it for me.
There you go.
And then there's the new one I'm working on for me. I don't know how many of you have seen Outlander or Call the Midwife, but this was one of the blankets that they had on there.
Oh,
It was a baby blanket. and I Googled it and I found it. So that's what I'm making for myself.
Wow,
That's my
pretty
current
incredible.
one.
That's really gorgeous as well. Well, I think you're incredibly talented. I saw a bit of Outlander. Do you watch a lot of Outlander?
I try when I can get a hold of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love Ron Moore and Ira Burr, and they wrote it or began together. I think Ira's since peeled off, and I think Ron Moore's peeled off too. But it is a huge hit, and I can totally understand why.
Yes.
It's a sort of it's a Mills and Boon treatment of the Scottish Highlands.
Yes.
So, and I did enjoy it. Secretly, I did enjoy it. I did like the fact they shot in Scotland too. I was impressed because it is it really can't replace Scotland. It doesn't look like anywhere else on earth. It's astonishingly beautiful countryside, and so small, and it yet looks like the vastest country in the world. I once went to. I had a friend. My mum had a friend. He had 2 hunting dogs, and he had he collected a bunch of military instruments. He was a Scots Guard himself. He was a military man, and he had these. I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? I never do that. I do this all the time. But I was going to say something really interesting about. Oh yes, that's what it was. So I had a whole Scottish experience. It was right near Inverness. I went up a mountain. Peter took me up this mountain. It wasn't a mountain, it was more of a hill. And peered over the edge of the thing. And I saw a golden eagle, mom, and she flew off when we got there. And in her nest were 3 little golden eagle chicks.
Oh, those are cute.
Pretty amazing. And the golden eagle chicks were the size of small cats, but it was amazing. So it's a beautiful country, and I think you should hurry over there. So what are you up to, talented person that you are?
Oh my goodness. My 17-year-old will be graduating next year. My 14-year-old is getting his learner's permit today, so I now have him driving.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Mel, stay off the streets. Just warning you. He nearly took out the sign in Deerbrook today. It's all right. My 10-year-old is leaving elementary school and going to middle school, and he's about in tears because he's going to miss all the fun he had and no more recess, and now it's going to be boring for school. And yeah, I'm trying to convince him he'll have fun.
Yeah.
I took a job as a swim instructor, so I'm teaching little kids swimming lessons.
Wow.
Wow,
you must have the patience of Job.
No, you only have them for 30 minutes. It's only 30 minutes. I can spoil any kid for 30 minutes and send them home. It's
How
great.
do you stop them all killing themselves? Because that would be the thing that terrified me. They'd be like, I'd turn my back and then 14 of them have just drowned en masse.
We only have 6, only 6. And it's like hurting my children. I had 3 boys, so I was doing nothing but wrangling children the entire 30 minutes. It's like raising my own children for 30 minutes. It's fine.
Of course, you're a pro at that. And you still, because you're also a journalist.
No, I am a stay-at-home housewife.
Oh, okay.
Jack of all trades, master of none. I think I'm a free Uber.
Jack of all trades, master of none is not to be sniffed at. That's a very good quality.
I hold all the glue together in the schedule.
How because a 10-year-old I can sort of understand over the last 2 years. Life got disrupted, but nothing major because there were no major emotional changes in their life. They haven't missed a big milestone like hormonal. But the 14 and the 17 missed big emotional milestones, but big friend-making, socially responsible periods of their life where they're learning massive lessons about relationships for the 17-year-old particularly, but also strangely for the 14-year-old who would have been 11 and just cruising into that world where he becomes super argumentative and thinks he's intellectually more superior than everybody on the planet. Which if I'm just saying what I would at that age.
Do you live at my house? I mean, the 17-year-old has autism, so we kind of caught a break with his diagnosis and his IEP that he could be in the school when the other kids couldn't.
Right.
So he didn't have a lot of a break because of the IEP, and they had to provide a para for his education. So for the 3 months at the beginning of COVID, he was at home. and I was about ready to tear my hair out because 3 kids and 1 kitchen table is not big enough space to keep them separated. So when he went back to school during the main COVID year, he was in the class while all the rest of the kids, they had like this whole rotation of these kids went in on these days and these kids went in on these days to kind of make sure that everybody rotated through the school.
Right. Are you because your kids are now getting, are you thinking about the more time you have? Obviously you're starting small and still very important, teaching kids how to swim. Have you got your eyes on the future? Are you planning to follow your friends' footsteps and do something truly outrageous, like go
I
back
have to ask again, are you living in my house? Are you a fly on my wall? Wow, you're hitting the nail on the head. If you took anything psychic today, it's working today, Sid. I'm kind of toying around with that. My major is computer science, but I have done some teaching and I could easily go back and get a teaching certificate for the state of Kansas. I could get a sub license in about 5 minutes, would not take me much. With my son having autism, I'm kind of toying around with the idea of maybe going back in as a para and working in special needs classrooms, and then at the same time concurrently going in and seeing what it would take to get a teaching license. It's an idea that I've got on the top of my head.
What a great idea. And how better qualified could you possibly be than have brought up a 17-year-old young man with autism?
It's a challenge. There's not many sentences you can say about my child that would surprise me at this point. It's a lot.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges, your biggest learning curves of like, oh, it took me a long time to understand that as a sort of as a truism?
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
When we lived at the old house, I did not know we had lead paint on the house.
Wow.
I did not know my son was eating the lead paint in our house.
Right.
So when we went to the doctor and I heard lead poisoning, I was scared to death. This was my first child.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to take him away from me because I had poisoned my child. So I didn't want to pursue an autism diagnosis because I thought, well, I did something wrong. We live in a house. He's poisoned himself.
My fault.
Taken away. You know, you hear about people having their children taken away. And I'm like, I don't want that. So I did not pursue an autism diagnosis until too late. It's not your fault that he's doing these things. There's nothing you did to make him have autism.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. That mom guilt is terrible. All I can say is after that, find the resources in your area, because here is like a wasteland. If you're not in Wichita, Lawrence, or Kansas City, maybe Topeka, you're not getting behavior therapy services here. Right. So I've had to fight and scrap and be halfway mean about it, which is difficult for me, to get services for my son here. Yeah. And you just have to advocate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, your son's really lucky to have you.
I don't know that he would say that yet.
17-year-old wouldn't. Autism, no autism, doesn't matter. You know, that's not that you're vanquishing your parents at 17. I did it when I was at 17. I was trying to thwart my parents intellectually, just, you know, not just win an argument, but destroy them.
Yes.
It was really tough. I mean, I love hearing these family stories and getting a picture of the whole family. And it's I salute you for bringing up the difficulties of bringing up a kid with autism, mainly because we just arrive so ill-equipped, and we feel that we've done that there's a stigma, and that there's that we get overprotective, and we think that, that you know, we have to think, how much trouble can he get into if I let him talk to this person? Just having to really think 3 steps ahead. But it all works out beautifully in the end. Let the people who are smart about it talk, because I am definitely not. But thank you so much, Becky, for coming out here and saying.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sid. Great time as always.
Right back at you.
Thanks, Becky. All right, we've got a new friend that we're going to meet, Marla.
Hurrah.
She has been joining us as an observer, and now she wants to talk.
Why? Why would she want to talk?
I don't know. How are
Must
you
have something
today?
wrong. I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to have you, Marla. How'd you find out about us? I always ask that question because I'm always curious what stepping stones you found that ended up here.
Well, of course I'm a fan, and I was looking at some of the reruns and some of the shows, and this website kept popping up.
Oh.
So I said, oh, let me check it out and see what's it all about. And if there's anyone in my area that, if I can't talk to you directly, that maybe, can get together and talk to them mostly about the show.
Yeah.
And just curious on what have you been doing? Do you do live plays or musicals or any, things like that? And just trying to get to know
about all that. Happy to talk about all that.
Okay.
Well, first of all, welcome. And
you.
You're always welcome to lurk. That's we don't mind. We love it. You don't have to put your photo up or anything. You just be there.
Okay.
Didn't do anything during COVID. Couldn't get arrested during COVID. In terms of work, I could easily get arrested, but I didn't. So I had to sit it out because no one would insure a production. And I mainly do movies and TV, mainly TV.
My daughters went through the same thing. My youngest daughter is in media production.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and she's done a couple of Netflix. She helps create. She loves to create monsters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she couldn't tell me the details of it, but she's throwing little hints at me about Aragon 2 and creating the dragon of it. She knows how much I love dragons, so she kind of sends me little pictures here and there of how she's coming along with her dragon.
Fantastic.
Yes. And, other little movies, here and there. She doesn't always get screen credit. But when she tells me that this is a movie, I have to bring all my friends over. We have to put it on TV. We're going to have a party.
That is such a great reason to have a party.
Yes. I think she picked interesting when she was 5.
Yeah, yeah.
My 2 daughters will tell you that I was abusive because I dragged them to sci-fi conventions and Comic-Con conventions, and I would dress them up.
Oh my goodness.
And we have the costume competition, and I put them on stage.
That is fantastic. That is total abuse, by the way, but it is fantastic.
So they would say they were abused, but guess who go to Comic Cons now?
Yeah.
And like I said, she took it to the point where she went to college, media production.
And you inspired her early doors.
Yes.
Right away, right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning.
Really good. I think it's a really good career choice. I think there's. I don't. I mean, obviously, everything is merit based in the industry. You don't get anywhere unless you're good at it.
Yes.
But it's a speciality. I mean, and when you do a speciality, you find the best thing is you find a niche and be the best. And because there's so many movies and so many TV shows being made. They want the weirdest things, they want someone who can train a monkey to drink a cup of tea.
Yes.
And those people weirdly are well employed all the time. The entertainment industry, and it sounds to me like your daughter has a really specialized niche.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic.
It was, like I said, she's really enjoying it.
Yeah.
They're filming in New Zealand.
Like being a mum of someone in the military. They actually go on tour for 3 months.
Actually, I was in the military.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was. I'm a veteran.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
I was in the Army. I was in it for 8 years.
That's a real veteran. I mean, that wasn't just your minimum and out.
No.
What was your specialty?
Patient administration division.
Okay, yeah.
My job was to keep track on how many soldiers were in and out of the medical facilities.
Right.
Crunch the numbers and send that up the chain of command.
You must have had a huge amount to do because you were busy at the busiest time for the military.
Yeah, especially September 11th is when the busiest time. The fortunate part, it was a team of us. but still it was a lot of work to keep track of and a lot of things that we had to do. The reason why I did not re-enlist was because I could no longer take the political side of it.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
hoping to go to some of the other countries where you can bring families and have my children explore other countries and, you know, to
Right.
see for themselves. But the fortunate part is when they grew up, when each child turned 18, they decided to go and do their own little travel.
Right. That's fascinating. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing you were an NCO status.
Yes,
You were, yes.
non-commissioned officer,
The
yes.
kind of the salt of the army, actually.
Yes.
They say, and
Yeah, it's a nasty business, and the after effects of it is recovering from that, regardless of what position
yeah.
you might have been in. It's recovering from it, everything you've seen, reports you might have read, and is trying to go through the recovery side. When you go in, you're taught how to protect. When you
Yeah.
come out, they're not briefing people on how to conform back to society.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why a lot of veterans in the United States are having issues. So one of the things that I do sometimes as a volunteer is to help veterans get benefits and sure they can get medical care,
Great. Great.
get everything that was promised to us in the contract.
Yeah. Great. Great work.
It's great work, but it is a fight. It is
Yeah.
a big time fight.
Also, my stepson was NCO Marine.
Hmm.
A couple of tours in the recent wars, and that was very traumatic for him, even though he's a very well composed, very intelligent, really, strong young man.
Hmm.
But since leaving, he's done like 360 loops mentally. He's had all kinds of things that have affected him, and it's not from ordinary civilians that he loves. He gets on just fine with those guys. It's from the precisely what you're saying, from the bureaucracy that he has to deal with in order to get anything out. Because
one of the issues I had to deal with near the end of my term was I started gaining weight and I didn't know why. I was picked on, I was teased by my chain of command big time. When I finally found out why I was putting on weight, and that what the Army could have done to help me with that, it was like, no, now it's okay, Marla, you got PTSD, you have all these other issues going on, so we're going to give you benefits because you got all these issues going on. And this is all because I was gaining weight. And like I said, at the time, I did not understand why, didn't know why. And then all the health issues that follow along with that.
Wow.
So taking care of myself, I'm also able to help out other veterans and say, this is what worked for me, you try it.
Well done, Marla. That's just amazing that you emerged so well, and that you've got enough left over to give away.
Yeah, sometimes it helps. It seems to help me more than just sitting around doing nothing. Helping other people is my way of healing myself.
Great.
Other things I like to do, I do a lot of arts and crafts.
Good. You're among good company here. We've got a lot of arts and crafters. Is that what all those boxes behind you are? They things ready to be something?
Well, I'm in the process of moving.
Oh, good luck
with
that.
Yes, I'm in the process. Yes, I'm in the process of moving. So yes, I had to pack everything up and tomorrow load up the truck and just head south. Hopefully can reestablish a business while I'm down there also.
Well, you sound like you've got a good framework. What's your plan? Is it to go bigger with the things that you create?
Yes, to go with the things that I create, and also to help out other veterans who are artists, to help them get out there too.
What a brilliant idea! What a brilliant business idea!
Yes.
So you get a whole VA arts and crafts fair going.
Yes.
And that's so completely the opposite of what everybody thinks that vets do, because they think
when we notice from each other, because when I first started it, they were like, I can't do arts and crafts. I can't do arts and crafts. I said, okay, let's start with kindergarten art. What I call kindergarten art. And I said, you can color inside the lines, you can cut things out. And little by little, they start coming out and say, yes, I can help this person build a ramp. It comes from, I can color to, I can put a ramp on your front door. I could fix your car. And just trying to take their skills and talents and make it into some type of art.
Absolutely.
And if I could show more veterans that take your skills, take your talents, make it into an art.
What a brilliant idea, Marla. That's a brilliant idea. Because of course, armed service personnel have to be brilliant at a lot of different things, engineering, mechanics. I mean, you name it, the practical things, getting across rivers, weird, difficult things that aren't just up to the engineering core. That's a brilliant thing to refocus all that latent talent and get it into something that's really creative. Because you know what's lovely about creative stuff? You finish a project, you go to sleep with a smile on your face.
Yes.
You feel gooder.
You feel like you feel like you've accomplished something. That's the feeling. I've done something, I accomplished something, and people are smiling, people are enjoying it. I didn't have to hurt anybody today.
I have some good advice for you, and that is get jiggy with the guys in this club. I think they have a whole discourse server. So they can get it. That's the thing that I don't have. Discord. So or this, I never remember what it's called. I don't even have Twitter. I don't have any of it. I haven't heard as good an idea as that, a business idea, for a long time. And because you're a vet, and there are lots of them, and lots of you, and lots of you feeling like you're underexploited, having been thoroughly exploited while you were in the service. And they got lots of energy and lots of know-how. I think it's a wonderful resource. And I think it's a great focus for a lot of people in terms of mental health and well-being. So and there's a built-in market, which is other vets, but also the rest of the country, because the country is really proud of that. Every country is proud of its fighting people, and proud of the people who look after the country. I come from the UK, so I make it sounds weird when I say thank you for your service to an American vet. Because
I hear it all the time. I do talk to Congress a lot, so they kind of know me by name, or sometimes times when I take a trip to the U.S. Capitol, some of the Congress that knows me runs the other way.
Right, that's a good sign.
They run.
They're scared. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what I want from you, Marla. What I want to see is some of your work. I want you to come back and show us some of the stuff that you do. And it can be photos, it can be whatever you want. You can hold stuff up, but we like show and tells. And we love to be walked through your beautiful mind. I
am glad to be part of this group. And like I said, hopefully we can continue to bounce ideas off of each other.
Oh, you will. Absolutely, you will. I guarantee it. Thank you for introducing yourself to us.
Okay, and nice meeting you and everybody else.
You have. You're here now.
Thanks, Marla.
You're welcome.
There's a link to the Discord in the chat.
It's really clever, isn't it? Discord.
Yes. It seems wrong, but
it's counterintuitive. It's a discourse.
Thank you.
All right, we are now going to go chat with Lauren. Lauren, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, you're saying it right. Lauren. Well, Lauren. It's kind of like, it sounds the same as if you said it with
No, Lauren's perfectly reasonable name. Nothing weird about that.
I'm glad you think so.
Where you at? Where are you coming in from?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, cool. Okay. So, how did you find us? Did you find us too by just falling down rabbit holes consecutively?
I guess so. It was through Star Trek things. I don't remember exactly how. It's been a couple months, maybe 3 now, since I've been lurking. But yeah, I'm on the Discord. Yeah, I can't remember how exactly I found it first, but definitely through some sort of Star Trek thing. So.
And where are you at in your life? What stage are you at? Are you at college? Are you finishing college? Because I know everybody's just graduated. And
yeah, well, I'm 23, so but I am still in college. I'm almost 24. I turn 24 next month.
Younger than you look. You're probably sick of people telling you that.
Yeah, no, I do get that a lot. I'm always
don't tell me that.
It's fine. I'm used to it. I'm sure I'll be happy about it when I'm 50, right?
It doesn't kind of work that way. When you get to 50, you look 50.
Yeah.
That's fun. So. That's in my experience, because I looked like a baby when I was a little boy. And then, oh my goodness, I just aged out of nowhere. But that's really cool. What do you love? What's the things you love about life?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I really love working with kids and interacting, like, being like, that's kind of what I want to do. Like, I'm studying social work and I want to do something with children, either in schools or just child welfare in general or something like that. So noble profession. Yeah.
So you inspired, were you already excited about helping kids develop before? Is it a new thing that you went, you know what, this is really what I want to do, and you were before like a computer scientist or something?
Yeah, actually, I did start out as computer science. That's what I was. I started out. Well, I wasn't sure, so when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to do physics. And then my senior year, I took my second physics class, and I decided I did not want to do physics anymore. We added in calculus with it, and I was like, you know what? It was fun when I was just doing it with algebra, and now I don't know about this.
Shooting the breeze with friends about what quantum might be. It was great. And then
and I liked, reading. I had a whole, several year long phase of being really into astronomy and like cosmology, and I would do my English projects that you're allowed to pick whatever topic on. I would do it on like how to visualize 4-dimensional space, and I for my English project, because that was what I was interested in. That's what I'd read about. And I still think it's really interesting stuff, but actually doing that for a career felt like it was like, I don't know, it wasn't as rewarding, I guess. It was when I worked for a summer camp that I went to as a kid. It's like a camp for kids with diabetes, and I have diabetes, and so I went there for like 11 years as a camper, and I went back as a counselor, and I found that like I really enjoyed, or not enjoyed isn't really necessarily the best word, but like I found it really rewarding working with the kids that had higher needs, I guess, in terms of like emotional needs, or like they had kind of like the kids you had to talk about in the meeting at night, because everyone had to be on the same page of what's going on, right? And I found that I really kind of gravitated towards those kids. Okay, I want to be able to do this, but like for a long-term thing with somebody, be able to like see, okay, let's try to fix what's happening, or let's be able to have more of an impact.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I decided to switch.
I think you're in really great shape is you are naturally, through your multivarious curiosities and exploring different avenues, you are a natural polymath. You are interdisciplinary by default, and you've been across all kinds of, you've been through the very different subjects, whether it's music or sociology, physics, computer science. These are and I'm going to sound patronizing, but I don't mean to be. It only sounds patronizing because I'm 56 and you're 24. But these are the building blocks of good mind. You need to know about loads of different stuff, but have actual interest in them. And you're going to be just great. You're going to be a great sociologist. You'll be a great physicist if you choose to be, because you're nibbling away at lots of different subjects. Have you always been interested in lots of different things?
I guess, especially with, the music and the math and science stuff, I was always something that I was interested in, both of those kinds of things.
Yeah. I was terrible at school. I learned very early on how to do just enough to pass an exam and no more. So I passed everything, but just.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time hanging out. But when I got to your age, suddenly realized how cool and interesting things were in the world, and I started picking up books and started getting obsessed with ideas, and I'd pick up a book and just suddenly become obsessed by it, and then pick up another book and become obsessed by that. And that's where my true education began, is what actually once I'd left college, because I didn't even make it through college. I was such a loser. But I also picked subjects that I wasn't interested in. I just felt I ought to do. I felt that I'm half Sudanese, so my family lived there. Some of my family lived there. So I always felt that I might want to go back to Sudan. So I took anthropology and geography, thinking these would be useful combination of things. I didn't like anthropology or geography. I loved English, and I didn't do the thing I loved. So that's really cool. So over the last 2 years and COVID and everything, where have you been living? Living at home?
Yeah, I'm living with my parents in Austin. So
That's
like
good.
I started out school in San Antonio, and then I ended up withdrawing. There was some health stuff that happened, and so I was going to a community college for a bit. So during COVID, COVID started when I was at the community college when I was living at home, and then I ended up transferring to UT during COVID. So, but I'm still living at home because I could just commute.
Are you discussing politics with yourself? Is that an interesting area, or is it like a no-go area?
I don't know. You kind of have to be in the know, at least in certain areas of politics, of like, how it's, domestic things. I mean, we talk about it a lot in the classes I take too.
Sure. I mean, I'm bringing it up because it occurs to me there's a fashion right now in the States, partly because of politics fatigue, that you don't talk about it. The chances are we're going to hate each other if we talk about it after 10 minutes. And I would like to avoid that. So let's just not talk about it. And I think it's a really bad idea not to talk about it. And I'd say that, I would think it's a good idea for everybody to talk about it, because you hone your skills, you find out what you're wrong about, you find out what you're intractable about, what you can't change, somehow can't seem to change your mind about. And you must always keep the door open to mind change. And when people don't talk about politics, they can't figure out any way, there's no way through, there's no way out. And the fashion is not to talk about politics right now. So I'm really glad that you do talk about politics. Be wrong.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to be, whoa, I didn't think of it that way. Do you like sports? Do you like, what are your other enjoyments?
I'm not a big sports guy.
A youngster.
Yeah, I mean, I played sports as a kid, but never really. I didn't. Once I got to high school, I did marching band, and that was kind of it for sports generally. But I mean, I like like Rubik's cubes, and I'm taking guitar lessons, and I do stuff with Legos sometimes, but I haven't been doing that as much lately as I would like to, I guess.
Yeah. And what kind? And you love Star Trek. Do you have other things? Is it particular? Which TNG? I was a TNG fan before I actually ended up doing, bizarrely enough, Deep Space Nine. It's really weird to be a fan of a show and then go, I'm going to be in that. Okay.
Well, you were on TNG for an episode, right?
I did.
I haven't gotten there yet in my watch through. I actually haven't.
I was in TNG. I think I was reminded the other day I may have been in Voyager too, but I'm not sure about that. Can't be 100% certain because my memory is feeble at the times.
Well, with Star Trek, I mean, I started when I was like in middle school or something, I think, when the 2009, the new movies came out. And I think that night after I saw it in the theaters with my parents, because my parents were both Trekkies growing up. They grew up in like the 60s, pretty much 60s and 70s. And so like my mom had like a model Enterprise hanging in her bedroom as a kid, like that, like they were, so
that is so cool.
I know, right? We started watching the original series. And so I watched that in middle school. I watched through the whole thing. And then I kind of like, at some point I kind of got off of it. And then during the pandemic, one of my dad's coworkers was really trying to, drum up Enterprise, the one from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so I liked it. I mean, I like Enterprise. And then after that one, I've watched Deep Space Nine, and I watched all of that one. And one of my friends, my best friend, actually, I've been friends with since like middle school. And we went to one of the universities together and all that. We've been watching TNG together. And she actually watched it when she was younger, but like forgot most of it. So like we're watching it together. So we'll meet up on like Thursdays, and we were trying to come up with a fun like alliteration for it. The only TH word we could think of was Tholian, that had to do with Star Trek. So we call them Tholian Thursdays, and we'll meet up and we'll watch TNG together and get dinner and stuff. So we're kind of slowly making our way through it. I think we're in season 3 right now.
Wow. You've got so much to watch. It's that guy. Have you seen Below Decks? I saw a couple of episodes.
The Lower Decks,
Lower Decks.
animated one.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. And I met the woman who is the person, I don't know how, but that is in it, who is the kind of lead voice. Oh, there we are. Well done, Mel. Like on the money. That the person on the from the to my left. Kind of work it out there. That was us in Chicago the other day. And they're fantastic, those guys. They're really, really amazing. We had a really great time. Thank you, Mel. That was really cool. Mel on the ball. That's like being a producer, like being on the news or something. You just had a B-roll right there the minute we needed it. Awesome job. Well, listen, come on back all the time. I want to hear a lot more about how it's going. I really wish you well and hope you can, because you will need to. There's quite a lot of qualifications when you're looking after people who are disadvantaged anyway, and don't stop doing everything. Learn about everything. You have time. Thanks, Lauren.
All right, thanks. It's good talking to you.
Right back at you.
Thanks, Lauren. Said you were not on Voyager, but Picardo was on DS9.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where the conflict is happening in your brain.
That's what it is.
Yes.
But I was in the original series. Oh no, they came to us in Trouble with Tribbles. You're right.
Yes, they came to you from the past.
They came to us from the past. They were actually there when we came down. There was an elevator scene I did with Colin, George Takei, Jimmy Dunn was there. So they was like, "Hi guys, hi," because they opened the elevator doors as we came down, and there they were. I saw George Takei in I was going to say Poland.
You saw him in Chicago.
Chicago. I am
the other day.
Mind. Yes, and what amazing work he does. What amazing advocacy he does for all kinds of cool stuff. That guy, yeah, there he is. And I'm that photo. Please don't show him that photo. It looks like I'm like, well done. You got yourself a cup of coffee all by yourself. He was telling me about his advocacy for various subjects, and I think it's just amazing. He's just a superstar.
It's really cool. You sat next to him, I think, on Friday and in the autograph.
Yeah, that horrible the commercial bit of it.
But you got to meet all the people, so that was cool.
I did, and I had Natu to my left, which is nice.
All right, we are going to talk to one more person. We've got Meredith, who abandoned us for like a year.
Meredith?
Now she's back.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Yes. My schedule was just crazy. I moved 5,000 miles and then I got a new job and the meetings didn't sync up with when I had free time. So
where did you move to?
So when I last talked to you, I was living in The Hague. I was in the Netherlands, finishing grad school. So I just finished my thesis and I moved back home. So I moved from the Netherlands back to Phoenix. So I'm back in Phoenix right now, but that's kind of up in the air because I just applied for a job which would take me back to The Hague. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing.
How fantastic though. What now, remind me what your thesis was on.
I was the person who did the thesis on Star Trek. So I have a master's in history, and my thesis, I actually have a copy of it now. This is a neat little copy of everything I wrote. Yeah. Yeah, and so it's a big old paper written on that. You're quoted a couple of times in there from different interviews and things.
From beginning to end.
I'm sorry, what?
You can read it all from beginning to end next time.
Nobody wants to hear that. I almost cried while having to write the historiography on that. That's so boring. Oh my God. I've actually had on online dating, I've had women who are like, oh my God, I love Star Trek. I want to read your thesis. And I'll send it to them and they ghost me after I send it to them. Oh, wow. So yeah, it's clearly boring. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's a cursed thesis. No one will go on dates with me after I send them a copy of it.
Maybe don't send copies of that. Send something like a book you love.
I'm not doing it anymore. I mentioned that I wrote my thesis on Star Trek, and Star Trek fans are like, "Oh, I want to read that," and I'm like, "You really don't." I mean,
it's actually, it's a good way to weed out people you're incompatible with. If they
that's
don't
fair.
like Star Trek, even everything that Star Trek stands for, You have to like Star Trek, even if you don't actually enjoy watching the show, because it's such a
Exactly.
movement.
Right. And so yeah, but so you can kind of take credit partially for helping me get this little bitty,
Oh, you're amazing.
That's my diploma.
That
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
I graduated with honors. I hadn't gotten my grade back last time I talked to you yet, so I was still stressing out because my thesis was in, but I hadn't defended it yet, so I hadn't. But now it's defended, it's done. So yeah, that's been really fun.
Kudos to you. That's awesome
Thank
news.
you.
That's awesome news. Are you wanting to go back to the Netherlands? Is that an itch now? You love the European vibe, or it's just like maybe there's no? It's the most sensible thing to do.
Yeah, well, it's like multiple things. So when I came back here, I got a job as an adjunct professor. So I teach American history at a local university.
Oh yeah.
But going back to my old alma mater that I got my master's at, and I'm hoping to like get an assistant professor position there in the international studies department.
Was it colonial history?
Yeah, it was. The title of my actual master's is global and colonial history. So yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't colonial as in like American colonialism. It was just like general world colonialism, the colonial period essentially. But then I ended up writing my thesis on the Cold War and like post-Cold War period. So things got real confused because of COVID.
I'm really fascinated by that. Okay, so do you see this period we're living in now, which is a bit difficult to see without being without the benefit of hindsight? But do you see, because the division and the problems we're having worldwide, and obviously the shortages and all the different symptomatic things that are happening, but must mirror in some degree certain elements of the Cold War, in the 70s. And right now, I can't say, well, I do say Russia's doing a terrible thing, but I also caveat that, by the way, America did it too. There's a hypocrisy here.
Right, of course, yeah. And there's like a general hypocrisy of like other countries get invaded all the time, but we don't care about them. And I'm like, yeah, there's more of a global implication of Russia invading Ukraine and things like that than there is when an invasion happens in like Africa or something like that. That doesn't have the same global impact, but still, like people don't really care about it as much.
Well, what do you do to have fun? What do you do to decompress? Now you're in merry Phoenix.
I don't know. I have my best friend lives here. We've been best friends for like over a decade now. So we get together a lot. We go and we've got a local bar where we have kind of our local Cheers bar where they actually know us by name because that's the one we go to all the time. So we go in there and we pull our laptops out and we write and just hang out and chat about things. He's working on a novel, I'm working on a novel, everybody's writing a novel, right? And we do that, and that's fun. We go see a movie every now and then.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you know what I would love?
No.
I would love for you to one day think of a 5-minute chat of things that we probably don't know enough about, but we will, you would never suggest that no one knows about these things. I mean,
right? Yeah,
everyone's been around the block, but it would be really interesting to hear your take on something and a sort of bite-sized element of what's going on, either that helps us understand better what's going on today, which is usually the point of history, but it's certainly going to be informative, and we love being told stuff by experts. At least I'm talking for myself, but I know that a load of us here do. And will you come? I
could definitely do that.
Let's have a chat, and we'll just open it up like a kind of mini little TED Talk. It would be just wonderful.
That would be great. I decided I was going to turn my lectures for my intro level American history course into a podcast so that I can, because American history, it's a big deal that people aren't educated about the actual history of America, because it makes them very open to being manipulated and lied to by politicians and things like that. And so
you think
I'm gonna do that. Yeah. I'm getting ready probably next month to start that. So
great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
I'll put a link up.
I'll be on my little crusade to get people to be unashamed to talk about politics and not to be worried about being wrong about it. And your little bit fill-in will help with that, because people will be able to say things from a position of authority. Thank you.
All right.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I'll be back more often now. Yes.
If you want, no pressure.
I also I'm a historian. I have a degree in history, and I would love to have you come back and do some mini lecture. All right, folks, we are going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all for coming. It's been a illuminating evening. Thanks, everybody.
Have a lovely evening.
I was waiting. They're all making goodbyes.
Night.
Good morning.
Bye, everyone.
Happy birthday, Mel.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Thanks for the time.
All right, that's enough. It was like,
Stay safe.
Happy birthday again.
bye.